Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. If I sound a little bit hoarse, it's because I am. Talked about, 20 hours this past weekend doing training. Congratulations to all our new coaches who have gone through boot camp this past weekend. We started on Friday. They were troopers. They started on a Friday. We went all day Saturday. We went all day Sunday for them to finish all their training in an entire weekend. And so that was really amazing. But the old vocals take a lot of wear and tear during those times. And many times I take Mondays off because I sound like this. But I'm in such an exciting series with you guys right now that I didn't want to miss this opportunity to keep that momentum going. And if you're just making it into the room, see right here, let us know that you're here. I'm over here in the studio, so I don't have the privilege of seeing your face or hearing your voice. But the next best thing is that if you get into the chat and let me know where you're joining us from, what you're excited about, what you feel life and momentum on. Also, just a huge favor, like this post and share it. It tells Facebook and it tells YouTube that we're doing a good job. Also, because we are talking about productivity, I'm going to have you guys click into a link a little bit later to share over in our Power Lunch group about some of your own productivity hacks, some of the things that you do to be incredibly productive. Do me a huge favor, though, really quick. Jump inside of the chat widget, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook, and let us know that you are here so that I know that I'm not alone all the way over here. So, if you've been with us for the last couple of weeks, and even if you haven't, we've been in the series called 5-Minute Makeover. And really what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to help you become a better coach, but also overall in your life, just help you get more out of life and to come more into your potential than maybe what you have before. And so really that's not super hard. One of the things I talked about in the first week of this series, and we're on week 3, the first week of this series, as I was really showing you that to get to change and real transformation in your life, it's not always a major thing that you do every day, like massive, like we want to take massive action and get results. It's not always that. Matter of fact, if you want to have great transformation, ongoing transformation in your life, there's a few things that if you put them into action that are really about 5 minutes a day, you put them into action, you will incrementally get change and you'll improve by 37 times in an entire year. And exponentially, if you add that year by year, you can see some really extraordinary results that you'll be getting over time. Let me say hello to Diane, who's joining us from South Carolina. How's it going, Diane? Good to see you. Awesome. Well, keep those comments going. I'm going to leave that. Message on there so that we can jump in. Now, I know a lot of people don't really like to talk about getting more done. They don't really want to talk about productivity at all. Matter of fact, a lot of times when we talk about productivity, people, they're not really super excited about it. Matter of fact, we needed to do this week, but I figured this would probably be the least popular of the entire series because people are already feeling like, well, I already have a lot of different things going on. I'm already getting done. It's not real motivating to say, get more done. And so that is the problem. That's the problem with how we perceive productivity is because usually it's giving us more tasks, more lists, more things to get done, to implement to try to get things into our schedule. Well, I'm not going to do that today. I know that our email was written in a certain way that sounded like I'm going to give you more lists and help you prioritize your list and all that other stuff. All that stuff will actually work. Those things actually really will work, but there's a problem. Is that most productivity hacks focus simply on important tasks, lists, and these are all great in concept, but they've got to be applied to the individual. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that, and I'm going to borrow some ideas off of Daniel Pink, his book, When, the Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. It's a great book. It's a great read. Daniel Peek's a genius. I love how he takes research and makes it really practical for people. So really what the theory is that we pulled away from this book and what you'll learn is that science tells us that we have internal daily rhythms that cause our energy to fluctuate. And if we're aware of it, we can optimize our tasks to be more productive. Let me say hello to a couple more people who are saying hello. How's it going, Lisa? Good to see you. You guys keep those comments coming in and your thoughts and all that other stuff, and we'll interact in just a moment. But let me repeat that. Science tells us we have internal daily rhythms that cause our energy to fluctuate. And if we're aware of it, if we know what our rhythms are personally, we can optimize our tasks to be more productive. See, here's the problem is that if I just give you a bunch of productivity things to do, like habits, routines, all of that other stuff, it may not work for you. And there's a reason why it won't work for you. It's because there are certain times of the day when you are more productive than others. And I should say this, you can be productive the entire day, but there are certain times of the day that are appropriate for certain kinds of things to get done. And if you're trying to do the wrong thing at the wrong time based on your wiring, then it doesn't matter what kind of a task list I give you or any of these other hacks, they won't actually work for you. So what we're going to do then is that I'm going to show you when your most productive times are today, and you're going to know, and then you're going to be able to use any hack. And if you just know when you can, when certain tasks are supposed to be done throughout your day based on your wiring, based on your rhythms, based on how you are put together, then you know what? Biologically, if you can get your biology on your side, then you're going to be crushing it. So, and you will be overall more productive. So when are you most productive? Well, here's what I need to share with you. There's 3 times of the day. What I say is that there are 3 times throughout your day, 3 rhythms throughout the day when you're supposed to be getting things done. So productivity, it's not really, I'm only productive in a certain part of the day. You can actually be productive in your entire day, but there's certain things that you should be doing based on the rhythm that you find yourself in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to define these rhythms for you, and then I'm also going to show you what time of the day it actually works for you. So that first rhythm is peak. And peak is when you are most energized and you are most productive in terms of getting things done. But you have to understand how to spend that time. How would you operate in the middle of peak time? Well, you need to do during your peak time, you need to do deep work that requires you to buckle down and to focus. And when I say what do those kinds of things look like? Tasks like, well, think math. Think about analytical stuff like crunching numbers, reports, or writing. Now, there's certain things that you should not be doing during your peak time. You know what you shouldn't be doing during your peak time? You shouldn't be trying to do creative stuff during your peak time because you'll waste it. And you actually won't be as creative during this time. You know what else you should not be doing during your peak time once you discover what it is? You shouldn't be doing routine tasks. You shouldn't be checking emails. You shouldn't be doing menial things that don't really take your mind at all. This is when you can be incredibly focused and you're very energized and your concentration's at an all-time high. You can be vigilant, and so you can get a lot done. And so we want to have the right kinds of things done during this time so that you'll be most productive. Now, there's a second rhythm that you'll hit after, besides peak. The second rhythm that you're going to hit in your day is called trough. And trough is a significant drop in mood and performance. But you can still get things done. It doesn't mean that you're going to be unproductive during that time. It's just thinking about what do you need to do during that time to get the most out of it. So how should you be spending your time? Well, this is the time to do routine stuff. This is the time to do emails. This is the time to do administrative tasks. anything that doesn't really require brain power or creativity or perseverance, that's what you do during that time. Now, if you've ever tried to get something creative done and you're like, the creative juices aren't flowing, and you're throwing papers and you're wadding things up and you're frustrated and you're staring at your computer screen or you're staring in your book or whatever that you're trying to write in or whatever, this is the reason why. You're not actually in your rhythm. Because if you were in your rhythm, then creative juices would be flowing. Or if you're trying to concentrate and just, I'm trying so hard, but I'm having such difficulty concentrating and everything else, well, we're finding ourselves in the wrong period. So don't try to do those things. We got to be aware of what part of the day, what rhythm of the day that we're in. And so this one is, because it's not requiring much of us. And so what it allows us to do is to still be productive and do this mindless kinds of stuff. You know what a lot of you guys do, though? You'll wake up in the morning, and most people, I'll show you this in a minute, most people, their most productive time is in the morning. You know, in terms of peak time is in the morning. And you know what they do? They spend it checking email. They spend it doing this, that, and the other. This is the time when you want to do it. Delay those things until later when it has its appropriate time and place. That way you maximize your time throughout the day. Now, let me say hello to a couple of people. Tina says, I disagree that that writing is a creative process as well as an analytical process. And I am most effective creatively. I think it's all about semantics. It's just definitions. It's just words. So we're not really in disagreement. We just have a semantic thing going on here. Who else do I need to say hello to? Tina from Texas, so happy to be here. And thanks, Paul, for being here, even with your sore throat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, let's keep going. 3 is recovery. And this is a less productive time, but you're loose and you're in a good mood. So how do you spend that time in recovery? Well, this is how you spend it. You spend it in brainstorming. You spend it in problem solving or looking for solutions that aren't obvious during that particular time. And so during this time, I want you to think of design, so design, creativity, marketing, any of those things, especially if you're doing those kinds of things in your business, if you're doing a coaching program design, if you're doing a course design on that high level, thinking creatively and everything else. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be crafting sentences during that time, though you might actually be. Just it really depends on when your flow is. Now, how do you find where your rhythms fall? And Daniel Pink in this book talks about the difference between larks, third birds, and owls. And you're like, Paul, what the heck is that? Well, you fit into one of these categories. So what are these categories? Well, first of all, a lark is an individual who's naturally inclined to be early. Early birds are about 15% of us. So 15% of the people who are watching tonight or watching in the future, you are an early bird. And I'm going to show you, and some of you might not be certain if you're an early bird or not. Well, we'll get to that in a second because I'm going to show you not quite a foolproof way of figuring out what category you fit in. But if you are an early bird or you suspect that you are an early bird, well, this is how you need to be working. Your peak time is going to be in early morning, right? Peak time's early morning. Your trough time is early to mid-afternoon. And you can kind of say that's going to be about 7 hours from when you woke up. That's when you're going to hit that lull. And so what are you going to be doing during these times? Well, remember what we're doing. Remember what you're doing. Focus concentration for you early birds starts in the morning. Then you're going to do your administrative task and your routines and everything here, right? And then the creative, when your brain is, what we'd say is your brain and your mind's pretty loose, you're going to be doing that in recovery, which is going to be, afternoon, late afternoon, or evening. That's when you're going to be doing that. Now, let's keep going. Third birds they fall in the middle of the spectrum. And so they don't rise very early and they don't stay up very late. And about 2/3 of us fit into this category. So far, just as a guess, if you had to take a wild guess, how many of you are early birds and how many of you are third birds? You're not a super early riser, but you get up in the morning like most people and you get things done. So what that's telling you is that 15% plus this other, you see that the vast majority of people are getting things done, are most productive at least in the morning time in terms of that peak time. So early morning is when your peak is, and wait, did I make a mistake here? Let me look at something really quick. Did I make a mistake? Oh, you know what? I didn't fix this. Paul, that's not the right information. So what you're going to say is your peak is not early morning. Your peak is morning to mid-morning. And that also means that your trough is going to be somewhere around like lunchtime to afternoon time, and then you're going to hit recovery a little bit later on in that evening. Forgive me for not having that right information on there. I have no idea what happened. Now, the last group, and let me look really quick. Who says that they're what? So Shekinah says that they are an early bird. Hey, there's Keisha. Hey, how's it going, Keisha? And Shekinah is joining from Trinidad. Very good. Awesome. Tina, who is saying hello. Tina says, so happy to be here. And thanks, Paul, for being here. I already said that, actually. Cool. All right, let's keep going. Now, let's talk about the owls. Tina says, I think I am an owl. Whoops. I don't know what that is. That's a number. I think I'm an owl. Well, let's see. Is Tina an owl? Let's look at it. Peak is late after. So owls are 20% of people. So this is a hard thing for you owls out there. You know why it's so hard for owls and it's so unfair for owls? Because the workplace is designed for early birds and third birds. And owls don't have the same rhythm as everybody else. Now, my wife has kind of adjusted. It seems like age kind of changed that for her over the years. But for so many years, I would be going to bed at like 10 o'clock at night. Not because I was an early bird, not because I was a lark. I've always been pretty much a third bird, and that's where I still live. But my wife, it was like we would be almost passing in the night. She would just get turned on around like 11 or midnight, like something would switch on, and then she'd be up until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd get up, and there'd be a whole painting in the living room or something like that. So that's really amazing. But the challenge is that most of us are working in a workplace that currently does not serve our natural rhythms. But you can still, as much as you can, adjust, even if you're in a workplace where you have to be at work at 7 in the morning or 8 or something like that. So peak for you owls is going to be late afternoon and evening, and often well into the night. Now, your trough period for you owls is early morning, it's morning, it's late morning, it's any time that's rhyming with morning. You owls have a real problem with that. I'm not knocking you. It's just like, I feel it. It's very unfortunate. If we could adjust this, I mean, imagine if we could adjust everything. Maybe if we could even adjust this for young people. Like what happens a lot of times in schools is that they'll do math at the end of the day, or they'll do math in the middle of the day. And it's a terrible time for most kids during that period. And there's a lot of people who are saying that at least 20% aren't early birds or third birds at all. They're owls. And so we've got systems in the way that we're educating people that what they've proven is that math scores improve overall if math's done early in the morning. But a lot of times schools aren't operating in that way. Some have adjusted to that. They've kind of seen some of the science and everything else. But it's really unfortunate. We could figure out a way to maximize everybody's potential. But recovery for an owl is going to be early afternoon. And what happens with an owl is that you progress from early afternoon to getting more and more alert as you go along. So again, if we look at this, you can see for you owls when you need to be focusing your most productive times. And also, and obviously, when you if you are an owl, look at your trough period. This is when you want to be doing the routine stuff that doesn't require a whole lot of you. Doesn't require a whole lot of concentration, brain processing, any of those kinds of things. Cool? Awesome. Well, what I'm going to do before we wrap everything up is I'm going to show you how to identify as precisely as we can which one you fall in. I know some of you assume I'm an early bird, I'm a third bird, or an owl, but I'm going to show you which one you actually are. For those of you who have not gotten trained and certified as a coach yet, and you would love business development help, wouldn't you love like the step-by-step on how to launch a coaching practice? Well, that's what we do at Life Coach Training Institute. We're not just training and certifying coaches. We have a 4-word mission statement. It's, what is it? Do you know what it is? It's proficient coaches, thriving practices. We want to see both. We want you to crush it on both ends. That's why we talk so much about business and everything else on top of what we talk about in terms of coach training and you learning the competencies. The best program that I think that I can offer you is our Jumpstart program. It includes training and certification and a full business development suite. It's an A to Z business development roadmap where we take you by the hand and we include a coaching community as well as a group mentoring call that happens every Wednesday. Let me show you some of the things that it includes. Now, boot camp just ended this weekend. Our next date's probably going to be about 4 or 5 weeks away, depending on how Thanksgiving falls and all of that other stuff. So stay tuned on that. But Jumpstart includes our boot camp program, which enables you to start on a Friday, go live the entire weekend, knock out all of your life coach certification training in a single weekend. Also, Jumpstart includes brand camp. It's 13 hours of training. We step-by-step take you through developing your marketing message. You know, we do everything. Search engine optimization. We show you how to develop a website. We show you how to write an email. We show you how to write a sales page. We give you all kinds of different tools and bonuses. And again, that's all included inside of the Jumpstart program. Our coaching product launch blueprint shows you how to go from any idea, brainstorming ideas, all the way to a launch, whether that means your coaching practice, a webinar series, a group coaching program, an online course, whatever you're wanting to develop, because I'm a real proponent of creating multiple streams of income for your coaching practice. There's a lot of ways to make money as a coach. And sometimes it's a really big leap to go from here to having a one-on-one client that's paying you $200 to $300 an hour. So what you do is that you create steps and you create smaller, less objectionable kinds of content and ways that they can work with you in a group that's a lower price point. And when they're helped to a greater degree, then you've earned the right and you've earned their business for something else. And so that's what the coaching product launch blueprint is that we give you all these tools. We take you by the hand. And here's the other thing is that our group coaching call that we do every Wednesday, we answer any of the questions that you have on the coaching side and also the business side. So it's a group of coaches who are incredibly supportive. They're all a bunch of geniuses. And what do we do is that we look at what you submit. We look at what you're working on, any of the challenges and everything else, and we give you feedback and we help you dial it in to be really successful as a coach. Also, all of this program includes Tuesday night training where we go live and I walk you through the life coach certification course. It also includes a live Q&A, and it also includes connection with other coaches on that time. So you get 2 nights of live training and live mentoring. You get all the full self-paced life coach certification course. You get the live weekend boot camp, and you get all the business development help for only $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. Now, I know you know this is a good deal because if you've looked at most of the training and certification programs, they don't include any of this stuff, and it's only getting a certificate, and you're paying $4,000 for it, and you have no clue of how to get clients. And so what we do is that we help you overcome your self-doubt, and we give you the tools to be successful, and we take you by the hand so that you're not doing this thing alone. On top of all of that, we make it affordable so that we're not saddling you with debt, so that you can start off on the right foot, hit the ground running. I should also include all of this stuff includes a bunch of samples, a bunch of tools, a bunch of editable documents so that you're not having to figure out anything. We give you coaching agreements, we give you tools, we give you samples. All of those things are actually included in this as well. Now, let me say hello to a couple of people, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to show you guys how to figure out which group you fall into. Shekinah says, I cannot function late. And let's see. Who else do I need? What else did I see? What time is the group coaching call on Wednesday? Wednesdays are at 5:30 p.m. That's 7:30 Central. That's 8:30 Eastern. And they're always recorded. So if you miss one of those, if you're in the program and you miss it, we always record it and we have it posted within like 24 to 48 hours. So no one has to miss those things. All right, cool. Well, you ready? Let's look at your sleeping pattern, which is going to give us great information and great data as to which group you fall in. Now, let's look at it. What group do you fall in? Well, here's how we do it. If you're if we're going to figure out if you're a lark, if you're an owl, or if you're a third bird. Now, here's what it says. If you're midpoint of your sleeping pattern, so let's say that you went to bed at 10 o'clock, and then you had to get up at 7:30. Let's say you get up at 7:30. Now, 10 p.m. to 7:30 means that, well, your midpoint's going to probably be, let's see, that's about 9.5 hours of sleep. Wouldn't it be great if we could get that? 1, 2. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that would be 9.5 hours of sleep. So if I go 4.5 in, we're going to probably be hitting like around here. Now, if your midpoint is somewhere in this range right here, that if it's somewhere in that range, like right here, whoops, let me try to get that again. If it's in this, if it's before 3:30, then that means that you are a lark. See if I can explain that again. So what is your regular time of going to bed? And what is your regular time of getting up? What you do is whatever that period of time, and maybe it's not 9.5 hours, maybe it's 7 hours or whatever. What you do is that you look in the midpoint, and if it's before 3:30 a.m., which would actually be right here, if it's before 3:30 a.m., then you know that you're a lark. If it is after 5:30 a.m., like if this is the point, so let's say that somehow you went to bed even later. Let's say that you're going, you went to bed at 1. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so what do we find in there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's happening? If we're getting around in this range right here, we know that you are an owl. If you're somewhere in between here, then we know that you're a third bird. So in both cases, lark and third bird, that still means that you are a morning person, and that's where you're going to find your peak. If you're an owl, well, you're not alone. It's about 20% of the population. But again, as a reminder of what we showed you, you will have your peak actually beginning in the early evening, and as you progress, as late as you want to go on the evening. Awesome. Dawn says, I have been an owl since I married my husband 20 years ago. Tina says, I am a lark also because of my husband. Awesome. And Jennifer says, I missed it. Well, you know what? The replay is going to be coming right up. We try to get the replay going as quickly as we possibly can. All right, cool. So, isn't that much better than me giving you a bunch of lists of things to do and everything else? Now, you can go out and find any kind of productivity hack that you want out there. They will all work, but you got to make sure that you fit them within the appropriate time. Because it doesn't matter if you've got a list of priorities or any of those other things. They're not going to work if you don't have them in the right time. Now, look inside the chat widget. I just put in a link, and I don't know where all it's going to allow us to see. There might be a couple of places where you can't get to it. But if you come to my like page on, or if you look on Facebook for Power Lunch for Coaches, we have a question for you to be able to share your own productivity hacks that you would like to share with the world. Your own 5-minute productivity hack that you think works. Let's pair it with what we learned today, and let's crush it, everybody. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week and take care.